Genesis chapter 13 is where we're going to be. And I'll tell you, this morning we're going to start a series of sermons. It's going to last for 4 weeks. And for the next 4 weeks, today and 3 weeks after this, we are going to do something that I'm going to guess that probably some of you are already doing. We're going to talk about our friends. Now, how many of you say you'd like to talk about your... Don't raise your hand, please. We like to talk about our friends. So for the next 4 weeks, we're going to talk about our friends. And more importantly, we're going to talk about the relationships that we have with our friends. You see, I believe that God wants us to have be authentic in our relationships. So we're going to call it authentic relationship, and we're going to look at a different aspect of what would be a godly relationship with our friends for the next 4 weeks. And as we do, we're going to look at... Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you have friends? Well, I know Luke was a little surprised today, but we all have friends, don't we? Now, in our friends, how many of us have ever seen somebody... Now, of course, they wouldn't be our friends. But how many of us have ever seen somebody that you kind of think that in a relationship, they think it's all about them? Maybe maybe you call them a friend, but you're thinking, in this relationship, they're thinking it's all about me. Or maybe you think maybe they're faking. You ever seen anybody that you thought was faking their friendship? Maybe for this reason or that reason, and that there's the best friends ever. And you just kind of get the idea that they're faking for whatever reason. God wants us to be authentic in our relationships. So we're going to go to the Old Testament, the book of Genesis, and we're going to look at a story in the life of Abraham. And we're going to see a decision in a relationship that he had. A decision that he made that made all the difference in his relationship or in his walk with God. And from that, I want us to see how we can be selfless. Not selfish, but selfless in a relationship. Now, to kind of get you ready for that, Abraham didn't always make good decisions. Abraham, if you notice in verse 1 of chapter 13, it says, "And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot was with him into the south." Now, a couple things you need to know there. Number one is going to be my blunder. Later, his name is going to be changed to Abraham. At this point in his life, he is still Abram, but I'm probably going to call him Abraham more than I call him Abram. So just get ready. I know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. And I'm probably going to call him the wrong name. But the second thing, it says he come up out of Egypt, or when he went out of Egypt and came, and he and his wife and all was with him, and Lot was with him, and they came into the south. Now that would probably have been the area of the Negev. And because remember in the Bible, everything is centered around Jerusalem. So as he comes up, he come up out of Egypt, but he settled in the south because everything is south of Jerusalem. So he would have probably settled somewhere in the Negev or the land of Canaan. That would have been where he was. He'd have been in a place where God had for him, but we have to look at why he was there. Why was he in Egypt? He said to come up out of Egypt. Why was he there in the first place? There had been a famine in the land. God had told him, if you remember the story of Abraham, he lived in a place called Ur of the Chaldees, a division of the Chaldeans, a little land called Ur. God called him and he said, take your family, go to the place where I will show you. And by faith, Abraham took off and just waiting on God to show him. And they went up to the north to Haran, and he had his dad with him. His dad died there. And then God says, I'm going to show you a place. I want you to go there. And he brings him down to the land of Canaan. And God's going to tell him, I'm going to give you this land. This is your gift. But while he's there comes a famine in the land. And because of that famine, Abraham packs up his family and he flees to Egypt because there was no famine there. There was food, there was crops, there was, everything was good. So he flees down there. But when he goes, how many of you know friends that make dumb mistakes? Of course, it wouldn't be us, but we know friends. Abraham made a really dumb mistake. He goes down to Egypt, and as he gets about there, he looks over at his wife Sarah, and he says, "Man, you're a gorgeous woman. And I know when we get to Egypt, they're going to want to kill me so that they can have you to be your wife. So here's what we're going to do. When we get there, when they ask you if we're married, we're going to tell them no. We're going to tell him you're my sister. So when he gets there, and the ruler of the land goes, hey, is that your wife? Oh, no, that's my sister. He takes Sarah to be his. Abraham lets her go. He protects his life. He didn't want to die. He was willing to let her go. So he didn't make some really good decisions. But now he's back. He's back into the land that God has promised him. And he's ready to, he's restored his relationship with God. And he's ready to move on. As he comes back, we know that even though his shortcomings and even though God's blessed him tremendously. I want you to look at a couple verses here. Look at verse 2. It says, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. Now, even though he had fled, and even though he went to Egypt, God has blessed him tremendously. And he's very rich in cattle, silver, and gold. To kind of show you the blessings they had, jump down to verse 5. And Lot, now Lot was his nephew. Lot was his brother's son that had traveled with Abram. It says, and Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. So we need to know, when he comes back, God has blessed him tremendously when he comes back into the land he promised. So much, in fact, look at verse 6. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. So God has blessed Abram, he's blessed Lot as well, to the point where they have so many flocks, so many herds, so much stuff, that the ground won't keep them all. That there's no way. This is like overgrazing, and now they're down to eating mud balls. So that comes to that place, in their decision, in their relationship, where they have to make a decision. It's causing strife in their relationship. You go on to the next verse, it talks about the workers, and it said that there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled there in the land. So it's in their relationship, it's causing strife. Now, we all said we had friends. We all said we knew somebody who had friends that we thought maybe was fake. But in our relationships with others, do we ever experience strife in that relationship? Everybody just nod your head this way. I know the answer to this one. Sure we do. We experience strife. For this, that, or whatever. Sometimes there's, right now, there's strife. Their herdsmen are arguing and their ground's overgrazed, and we got to do something. Abram has a plan. If you look at verse 9, you see that plan. It says, is it not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. Thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the... If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. If thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And that's where we find ourselves in our story today. Abram and Lot's come, the ground, can't hold the both of them. They've been tremendously blessed by God. They're finally coming back to the land that God has promised to Abram a long time ago. Their herds are huge. Abram says, here's what we're going to do. We've got to separate. You've got to go one way, I've got to go the other. And he told Lot, he said, I want you to look around. If you choose to go to the right, then I'll go to the left. If you choose to go to the left, then I'll go to the right. And he tells him, whatever you decide, I'll take the other way. That's Abram's solution. But from this part and the rest of the story, we see two different sides, two different kinds of people in their decisions, in the relationship that they had. The first one we see is the selfish friend. From Lot, because Lot's going to make his decision. And Abram says, you're going to choose. And in all of our relationships, no matter who our relationships is with, it may be with the person next door, it may be with the person across the street, it may be a relationship with a person we work with, a person at the store, it might be our relationship with God. But we all have choices to make. So when we think, see this story, the first thing we have to see is we have to look at the choices that we make. Abram gives Lot a choice. He says, Lot, I want you to choose. I want you to choose. The choice that you make is going to be important. I'm going to let you make that decision. Lot, here is your joy. Verse, he says, we'll separate. If you choose to go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you choose to go to the right, I'll go to the left. And whatever you choose, I'll go the other way. We all have choices to make. And isn't that life? Life is full of choices. We had choices to make this morning. We had to choose, do I go to church or not? Now I realize there are some folks here that they didn't have that choice. Nobody with the last name Howard had that choice. They would be in church this morning. But when we look at, most everybody else, they chose. Do I go to church? Because let's face it, some of you would rather just stay in bed. You'd rather sleep in and do whatever, relax, prop my feet up. But we chose to go to church. We chose how we were going to look. I picked these clothes out myself. Some of you probably going, Holly's going, yes, he did. I had nothing to do with it. But, we make choices. And it's all about life. And our choices, they boil down to two things. We either make good choices, or we make what kind of choices? Bad choices. And so a choice is going to be either way. Well, here with this selfish friend, we have to look at the choices we make. And notice Lot's choice. Abram says, I'm going to give you your choice. Verse 10 shows us that choice. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed, or it was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest into. Then Lot chose him all the plain of the Lord, Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves one from another. Lot had a choice to make. This was a choice that had to deal with his relationship with Abraham. And he chose. He looked around, since he lifted up his eyes, kind of looked around, and what he saw was some of the most fertile ground ever. And he says, that's where I'm going. Sometimes we make good choices. Sometimes we make choices in relationships for the wrong reasons. So it leads me to my next question. What directed Lot's choices? Well, what was it that caused him to say, I want to choose here? I want us to look at about 5 things. Because I think there's a lot of things that play into the choice that Lot made. Number 1, I think it's his choice for greed. I think part of it, he looked around and what he saw was a good land. It was a well-watered land. And it says, he looked and he saw all these things. And the land was so great, it compared to the Garden of Eden. If you look at verse 10, it says, it was before God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It says, even as the garden of the Lord. So what he's looking at, this time's so great, it's probably like what the Garden of Eden was. The other thing he compared it to was Egypt. Remember, Lot had just come with Abraham from Egypt. He'd been down in that fertile land, a land made fertile by the Nile River. He knew what good growing land was. When he looked around and he saw this well-watered land, and everything, he thinks, man, God has blessed me. And I've got all these flocks, all these herds, and this land will make me even greater. So I think he made his decision partly because of greed. When we look at what directed his choice, I think part of it had, because it says he looked. And when he looked, he lifted up his eyes and beheld the plain of Jordan. And he said, ooh, that's the place for me. It looks so good. I was with my uncle one time when I was a kid, and my dad and my uncle, they liked horses. And I was with my uncle when he bought a horse. And we went in and we looked at this horse, and I'll admit, it was one of the most beautiful horses I ever saw in my life. And my uncle, he had an eye for good-looking horses. Did not have an eye for good horses, but he had an eye for good-looking horses. And he looked at that and he said, isn't that a beautiful horse? Well, I had to agree it was. So he told the guy, he says, how much you want for it? The guy says, well, I'll take this much. My uncle paid him. We went and loaded the horse on the back of the truck. The horse had never been loaded before. Of course, we didn't know that. Matter of fact, we didn't know that it had never been led before. It had never been ridden before. It had never been brushed before. But boy, it was a pretty horse. Well, finally, I don't remember how we did it, but by some, I will almost say miracle of God, we got that horse in the truck. It stayed in there till we got home. We opened the gate on the back of the truck. We didn't even have to let down the tailgate. That horse jumped tailgate and all out of the truck. We didn't see it for 2 weeks. But boy, it was a pretty horse. My dad, after we finally get the horse, get it back home again, my dad goes to see it. He looks at his brother and he said, "Why did you buy this horse? You can't ride it, you can't work it, you can't lead it, you can't brush it, you can't do anything with it." Mama said, "But boy, isn't it a pretty horse?" Sometimes the decisions we make are because of greed. And unfortunately, some of our relationship decisions are because of greed. Here, rather than being authentic in his relationship, Lot looked at it and says, "That's the best for me." And that's what he chose. The second thing I see here, I think, a reason he made that decision, it was a lack in his relationship with God. I think Lot was not living for God as he should. I want to show you something. Look at verse 4. They come back to Bethel and Hai, and it says, verse 4 says, "Unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first." Now it's talking about Abram. Abram had made an altar there, sacrificed to God before he went to Egypt. This was the land that God had given him. He says, he made an altar there as he did. He went to the altar where he had at first. It says, "And there Abram called on the name of the Lord." Abram hadn't always been walking with God in Egypt. He lied, did other dumb stuff. But now he's restored that relationship. Nowhere in this passage does it say that Lot did. Nowhere does it say, "And Lot called on the name of the Lord." And folks, when we're not walking in personal relationship with Jesus Christ, we're going to make some dumb relationship decisions with friends. We're going to make selfish relationship decisions. When we're not living as Jesus would have us to live. And I think from Lot, what we saw was, he wasn't walking with God. So that selfishness, it's all about me. It's all about what I think is important. It's about what I want to do. So I'm going to take the best land. Never mind about Uncle Abraham. I'm going to do what's best for me. So I think part of that was his lack of relationship with God. And folks, if we're not walking with God, we can be assured we're going to make some dumb decisions in our relationships as well. Number 3, I think, was opportunity. I think that the third reason why we see the choice, he made the choice to take this fertile ground, I think it was opportunity. Look at the opportunity Uncle Abraham just gave him. Lot, you look around, you choose whatever lands you want. He looked over and he said, "Oh wow, look at that. Isn't that the greatest land you ever saw? I want that. I've got all these flocks, all these herds. That land is going to make me even greater. I'm a great man already, but it's opportunity." And I think sometimes when we're choosing relationships, I think sometimes we look at relationships for the opportunity that it presents. We look at things and we, because it's best for us. We pick friends because of the opportunity that it presents. You ever been around somebody that in conversation they keep dropping names? Maybe of somebody important. So that it impresses you of who they know. One day last week I was talking to DJ Taylor. And DJ says to me, and everybody's going, "Ooh, Pastor Dan just went up 3 notches in his social status. He knows DJ Taylor." But you ever meet folks like that? They're constantly dropping names. And what's the relationship? It's about opportunity. It's not authentic. It's just about what's best for me, best opportunity, the best thing I can do. Or maybe our reason is we want to be friends with somewhere. Oh, we might go places with them we don't like, and we might do things that we don't care for, but somebody might see us with them. Yeah, I look good when I'm with them. Somebody sees me with them. going to look really, really good. Speaking of, I got an idea. You know, I need some of y'all to do something. You teenagers, when they first repeat, I need you to kind of scoot together real quick. It's okay. Your parents don't care. I know you got to get off Snapchat, but do it real quick. Real quick. You three over here, pretend like you like him. Just pretend for a moment. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Because I really need to do something. Right, here we go. You ready? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, now hold on. I forgot to do it. Some of you didn't do it. We forgot our selfie face. You ever notice? I read this the other day. 70-some% of folks who take selfies put on a fake smile. So let's practice. Do your selfie smile. Yeah, ready? Okay, here we go. Ready? Everybody got it? Selfie smile. Oh, I can't wait to post that. You know why? Because there's folks who will see that. When I have a selfie, yeah, you can scoot back. Well, that's the thing. When I post a selfie with these teenagers, I mean, think of some of the clientele that we have right here in this group. Yeah. I mean, look at some of them dressed really good today. They didn't do that for church, trust me. You know, but I mean, we got half the bands here. We've got social stage fair winners here. I mean, we've got clientele right here. And when my picture's seen with them, how we're going to have every teenager in Moorfield want to come to this church. Because if Pastor Dan is that cool, that he can take a selfie with this group, the rest of you're going to have to start sitting over here because we're going to fill this whole side with teenagers. Opportunity. We're building relationships. I got proof. Relationships. But you know, I think that's part of what Lot did. I think he just did it for opportunity. It leads me to my fourth thing. I think it was power and prestige. You know, what would make him to make the decision he did? Part of it was power and prestige. Now, to do that, we've got to kind of go on in Lot's story. So I'm going to invite you to just keep reading when you get home tonight. Because you're going to see, Lot's mentioned later in Scripture. Here it says, he looks at this ground and it's so great, and it was before God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So it tells you where this land is, Sodom and Gomorrah. So he looks at it, and he does what we know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, but he ends up there, and he becomes a big man in Sodom. He's the judge. So Lot, he's important there. He can walk around with his chest out. He's the big man of Sodom. Folks, look at him. They know his name. So part of it, maybe he made his decision for power or prestige. But you know what the truth of the matter is? You want to know what it all boils down to with Lot? Here's the real problem. Look at verse 11 again. Then Lot chose for him. You know what the problem is? The problem is Lot chose for himself. He made the decision in his relationship with Abram, but he chose for himself. Now, folks, God wants us to have relationships that honor Him. And we can't have that when the decisions we make are for us. What we want to do. What will make us look good. What we think might be fun. What will make us a little higher in the ladder. What will give us opportunity. Lot chose for himself. We see a selfish friend. A selfish decision. You say, well, Pastor Dan, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with being a little selfish in relationships? Why? What happens when we're selfish in relationships? Let me give you three things. Number one, it destroys our testimony. When we're selfish in a relationship, it destroys our testimony. When we're all about us, and so it makes me look good, it makes me feel better, it's something I want to do. When it's all about us, it will destroy our testimony. Now, let me take you a little farther into the story of Lot. I told you Lot ends up in Sodom, in the Sodom and Gomorrah area. And there he is, and he's big man around town. He's kind of like the judge. And everybody comes to him and all kinds of stuff. Well, later, Sodom and Gomorrah gets so wicked, God's going to destroy it. And I'll tell you how wicked it was, and how great the wickedness was there. On the way to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, God and it has a couple angels. They look like men. They stop by Abram's tent. And then they say, we're going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And God says, or Abram says, no, you wouldn't do that, would you? And he asked God, he said, if there's 50 good men there, well, would you destroy it if there's 50? God says, if there's 50 good men there, I will not destroy it. Abram kind of thinks, well, maybe not quite 50. If there's 40 good men, would you not destroy it? God says, if there's 40 good men, I will destroy it. It goes on down. Finally, Abram gets in and he says, if there's 10 good men in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you spare their cities? God says, if there's 10 good men, I'll spare them. But there wasn't. There wasn't 10 good men in Sodom and Gomorrah. The only one that was kind of good was Lot. So for Abram's sake, or Abraham at that time, for his sake, God is going to spare Lot and his family. So they go, God kind of departs from the picture. The two angels that look like men, they go into Sodom and Gomorrah. They go to Lot's house. Knock on his door, they come in. They're staying at Lot's house. But when they do, the men of the city gather outside of Lot's house. Now I'm going to tell you about the testimony of Lot. The testimony of the land that he's a big man in. They come and knock on his door and they say, we know that there was two strangers that came to your house. Send them out here. Now the men of the city, one of these two other men, or they thought angels sent out. Why? So that we might have sex with them. That's how wicked this city was. Two strangers come to the city, go to the big man in town's house, and they go and knock on the door and say, bring him out. We want to have sex with him. Now, I'll show you the testimony of Lot. Lot says, oh no, we can't do that. So he sends his daughter out, basically as a sacrifice, and lets them rape her instead. That's the testimony that Lot has taken. Why? Partly because of selfish decision. I want the best for me. He tells his son-in-law, the angels tell him, hey, God's going to destroy the city. He tells his son-in-law, God's going to destroy the city. Lot is the judge over the area. And his son-in-law thinks he's lying and doesn't believe him. Here's the big man in town. His family don't even believe him. You know what happens? You know what happens when we're selfish in our relationships? It destroys our testimony. The second thing it destroys when we're not, it destroys our family. Bad decisions in relationships, selfish decisions, destroys our family. They told us, God's going to destroy the city. But He's giving you and your family a chance to get out. The only ones who even start to leave out of Lot's family is Lot, his wife, his two daughters. Son-in-laws won't even go. Lot, his wife, two daughters leave and start out. That's it. Everybody else will be destroyed there. But we know the story goes a little further. As they're leaving Sodom, Lot's wife turns back. God told them, do not turn back. She turns back, and what happened to her? She turned into a pillar of salt. Because of a selfish decision in relationships. Not only destroyed his testimony, destroyed his family as well. You say, oh, Pastor Dan, nobody's going to turn my family into, or anybody in my family into a pillar of salt. God's not going to do that to us. But you know what? When we're selfish in our relationships, it hurts our family in many other ways. I had the opportunity a week or so back. The days have kind of run together now. But I got to help out with a school trip. And I watched it, and they took the kids fishing. And that was a lot of fun, except for the guy that had to untangle all the lines. But it was fun. I got to watch the kids, and it was great watching these kids for the first time ever in their life pulling out big old fish. And it was so much fun. But I watched this one little girl. She was there with her daddy fishing. And Daddy, he's a big man around town. And he had to talk to all the other big men around town that was there with their children. And there stood the little girl. And they talked for a while, and she'd stand there. He'd say, honey, do you want to go fishing? I'm waiting on my dad. And he'd move on, and, there's somebody else important. I think he'd be talking to them. There stood the little girl. When we make selfish decisions, it not only destroys our testimony, it destroys our families as well. And the third thing, it destroyed Lot's character. Selfish decision. You know where Lot ends up? As you read that story this afternoon, go and read through the whole storyline. Because what you're going to find, Lot and his 2 daughters, it's all that's left, end up in a cave. Big man in town. Now living in a cave. And to make it even worse, his daughters get him drunk and sleep with him so that they can get pregnant by their father so they can have sons to carry on the family name. You know what's happened? Selfish decisions in relationship also destroys our character. Sometimes we don't have to hang out with some people. Sometimes we need to walk away. We need to make good choices. Lot, he made the selfish choice. He was the selfish friend. But I want us to back up in the story a little bit. I want us to look at Abram. Because Abram was the selfless friend. He didn't put himself first. You remember his decision? Lot, I think we need to separate. Lot, I think we need to go our separate ways. The ground won't hold both of us. The cattle, there's so many of them, they're just eating bare. There's nothing for them to eat. And he says, Lot, you choose. And whatever you choose, I'll go the other way. Abram made a selfish or selfless decision in his relationship with Lot. When we look at it, and the selfless friend of Abraham, Abram made a selfless decision in his relationship with Lot. He says, you choose. It's not about me. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I'm going to do. Lot, you choose. Now I want you to know something. Abraham didn't have to do this. It was not necessary for him. Matter of fact, some might say it was wrong for him to do this. They were back in the land that God had given to Abraham. It belonged to him. God gave it to him. Abram could have said, Lot, my boy, been great traveling with you. God gave me this land. Remember when we came down through here the first time before we went to Egypt? God said, all this is mine. Everywhere I can see, as far as I can see to the north, south, east, and west, He gave it to me. Lot, we need to separate. This is what God gave me. We need to move on somewhere. He had every right. But he didn't. Because in his relationship, it wasn't about him. It wasn't about what made him look good. It wasn't about the publicity or the opportunity or being popular or cool or whatever it may be. It was a selfless decision. Lot, I'm going to let you choose. And because of that, I want you to see that God rewards Abraham. God rewards Abram's selfless decision. Look down at verse 14. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thy eyes and look to the place where thou art, northward, southward, eastward, westward. For all the land which thou seest, I will give to thee and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall your seed also be numbered. Now get this. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I'll give it to you. Because Abram made the selfless decision, God blessed him. Because that selfless decision and relationship honored God. He says, look around. Look to the north. Look to the south. Look to the east. Look to the west. It's all yours. He even goes further than that. He says, Abram, you just take off walking. Walk the whole length of it. Because as far as you can walk, it's yours. Walk the width of it. Because as far as you can walk, it's yours. God's rewarded him with that. Because he made the decision. He said, I'm not only giving it to you, I'm giving it to your family. Your generations, your seed, they'll hold that forever. It's going to belong to them. Hang on to it. It's yours. He says, and your family, I'm going to make them the number the dust on the ground. Abram, if you can count the dust particles on the ground, that's how many descendants you're going to have. That's how many family members are going to come from you. God's going to bless it. Why? Because of a selfless decision. Well, folks, we all have friends. What's the reason for our friends? Are we in relationships now just because it makes us look better? Because it makes us a little more popular? One year camp years ago, the style that year for little girls was these shirts. It looked like two shirts, but it was actually one shirt, but it looked like two, with one sticking out underneath a little bit. And some of these little girls would come to camp, and in our children's camp, and they had those popular shirts. Well, others looked at them, they didn't quite know that it was one shirt, it just looked like two pieces. So they were wearing two shirts every day at camp. Remember Wednesday, they're out cleaning laundry. Because they wanted to look like the popular kids. They didn't care. We'll just switch it. But I want to look like them. For our decisions is for ourselves. For our own selfishness, if our friends is because of that, then we're the wrong way. So the last thing we look at Abram's response. He builds an altar and worships God. Look at verse 18. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar to the Lord. He worshipped God. Let me ask you a question. Are your relationships, are your friendships honoring God? Or are they for other reasons? If we want to have authentic relationships, we need to have relationships that are selfless, not selfish. Relationships matter in the world that we live. What are your relationships about? You're in a rolling relationship? That's key. Are you making selfless or selfish decisions? Maybe today as we go to our hymn of invitation, maybe you realize there's things in your life that's not really should be. Maybe it's things in your relationship with God. You need to turn that over to God. Maybe it's things, your relationship with someone else. The Bible says if you have a problem with someone else, go to them, make things right, and then come back to God. What is it that God wants to do in your life today? What does He want to change in your relationships with others? Maybe today it's something that you need to confess to somebody. to make things right in that relationship. Maybe today it's sin on your part that you need to confess to God. Maybe you're not living as you should for God right now. And in that relationship, you need to turn from selfish to selfless and follow Jesus. Or maybe today it's just a burden in your heart. Something that you want to come to this altar and lay before God. I want to invite you as we sing this song to do that. Just this is our altar. There we go face to face with God. Our relationships. Are they selfish? Or do we want authentic, let's just say godly relationships? What's God want to do in your life today? Father, thank you for your word. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to preach it. Lord, thank you that it touches our lives. That it changes us. That it speaks to us. Father, I want to pray for every relationship of every person in this place. Maybe right now in our relationships we're making it all about us. It's our way or the highway. We need to change because we want to follow you. So God, I pray that we confess our sin and then get forgiven. I pray that we turn to you. Lord, maybe there's folks that they have never entered into a relationship with you. I pray that today is the day of their salvation. But Father, help us to be selfless in our lives and in our relationships. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.